It's as close to time travel as we're gonna get. This week in music history with Marty Miller.
Hello there, we do this very simple thing. It's time travel. Sort of. We go through a week in music history in less than 10 minutes. That's quite a lot of decades in not an awful lot of time. So this time we're looking at the week of March 23rd until 27th. This week Fleetwood Mac came back for a new decade after a very quiet previous decade.
In the 80s, Fleetwood Mac was a little bit inactive, and I'd like to see that not be the case.
It was this week in 1985 that Stevie Wonder felt the wrath of radio in South Africa because of a very simple dedication.
I would like to accept this award in the name of Nelson Mandela.
And Eric Clapton was getting the evil eye from his best mate George Harrison. Why?
I had become, bit by bit, more and more obsessed with his wife.
This week in music history with Marty Miller.
In 1973, John Lennon was ordered to leave America by immigration officers over there. He eventually secured a visa 3 years later, challenging and eventually changing US immigration laws. This was a massive consequence of John Lennon's efforts.
The door that was opened by John Lennon's immigration court battle has now deferred deportation of more than 580,000 immigrants who entered the country illegally when they were children. President Obama is now planning to allow millions more people to pass through that door.
1990, Fleetwood Mac began their Behind the Mask world tour in Brisbane, Australia. This is Mick Fleetwood.
In the 80s, Fleetwood Mac was a little bit inactive, and I'd like to see that not be the case. I'd like to see us being motivated to keep playing, keep recording, and that is hopefully what is going to happen.
1965, the Beatles began filming their film Help. Of course, things got boring and cold in England, so they decided to finish the shoot in the Caribbean.
What's this? A season ticket. Oh, like a lot of season enemy soup.
In 1991 this week, after bad-mouthing ZZ Top tour sponsor Miller Beer, the Black Crowes are dismissed as the support band. The Robinson Boys had a bit to say about that too.
I think it's silly to call yourself a rock and roll band and to be in arenas with all these people paying all this money and to still have to have big corporate signs everywhere. Just to peddle some really not even a very good product, we felt, as fans of beer, beer drinkers.
More John Lennon stuff, this time with Yoko Ono. In 1969 this week, they started their week-long bed-in at the presidential suite at the Amsterdam Hilton Hotel. They invited the world's press into their hotel room every day to talk about and promote world peace.
And so that's why we chose this place to protest against violence in the world.
It's very comfortable. We intend to stay in bed for 7 days and then leave.
Meanwhile, it was this week in 2008 that Richie Sambora, formerly of Bon Jovi, was arrested in California on suspicion of drink driving. Police noticed his black Hummer weaving in traffic lanes, and sure enough, you don't want to get hit by that.
Bon Jovi guitarist Richie Sambora is facing drunk driving charges. The musician was arrested Tuesday night when police saw him weaving down a Southern California highway. He reportedly had his girlfriend, his 10-year-old daughter, and another unidentified young girl in the car with him at the time.
In 1985 this week, radio stations in South Africa banned all of Stevie Wonder's records after he dedicated the Oscar he had won the night before at the Academy Awards to Nelson Mandela. From that event back in 85.
All through Europe I had dreams. The nominees were coming up and they say, this song, and the winner is, I would wake up. But I never thought that this would happen. I never thought this would happen. I would like to accept this award in the name of Nelson Mandela.
This was very sad. The Australian drummer Paul Hester died at the age of 46. Strangulation, found hanged in a park in Melbourne. How awful. This was 2005. Paul had been a member of Crowded House and Split Enz. Very sad. Here are the boys from Crowded House.
Yeah, incredibly missed, and hardly day goes by. I know that's a kind of a cliche to say, but yeah. Paulie was an extraordinary human being, and obviously, there was a distance there that nobody could bridge.
The question of How did he get to that point? I ask myself continually.
This week in 1979, Eric Clapton married Patty Harrison, the ex-wife of George Harrison, in Tucson, Arizona. Patty applied for a divorce about 10 years later in 1988, 9 years later.
And I had become, bit by bit, more and more obsessed with his wife, Patty, and was making amateur kind of inroads into finding out what was going on and what was happening to their relationship, and at the same time trying to balance my relationship with him.
And in 1987 this week, U2 performed from the roof of a store in downtown Los Angeles to make the video for Where the Streets Have No Name. Thousands turned up. Traffic came to an absolute standstill. Oh, because that's so strange for LA. It's normally so free-flowing. The police eventually have to stop the whole thing.
You're talking about a major thoroughfare at 3:30 in the afternoon, okay? What I was explaining to Ben there is we would have to go on what's called a TAC alert to get this problem solved. And we're not going to do that.
And U2 today at 7th and Main. If you haven't heard about it, you know how hard it is to get U2 tickets.
They are sold out.
Everywhere.
They
sold
went
out.
fast.
Are you listening to me, or am I talking to the wind?
I'm totally understanding, but
Officer, can I just... You cannot promise me that you're not going to have a crowd that reaches limits that we cannot control. You can't promise me
Absolutely.
that. You're drawing them in by the dozens now.
And that, boys and girls, is a look at This Week in Music History, March 23rd to 27. My name is Marty Miller. Have a great week.
Zipping through a week in a matter of minutes. This Week in Music History, the podcast.